Hey, did you watch that press conference with Jerry Dipoto, Scott Service, and Justin Hollander?
Oh, no way, man. It was like an hour long. Nah, that's boring. I don't want to do that.
Okay, fine. I will go ahead and make a actual summary of this press conference just for you cuz I like ya a lot. Now, don't take that too seriously. So here are some takeaways from Jerry Dipoto, Scott Service, and Justin Hollander.
I think we need to get better. We had an awesome year. I think everybody up here will say that 10 times today. Really excited about the progress we made. We also finished 16 games behind the Astros or whatever it was. So the goal is not to get to the playoffs. The goal is to win the World Series. And we want to get better, and that means better everywhere.
We'll be active. We know there are a couple of holes to fill on the team, regardless of what we do.
Clearly, there is holes in the offense because it did show in the playoffs that the Mariners couldn't put up runs when they needed to, especially in game 3 against the Astros. At some point, they were asked about the shortstop because there are some notable names in the shortstop area for free agency, Carlos Correa and Trey Turner. And Jerry Dipoto didn't really have much of an answer. Here was his response to it.
Our great preference would be that we could land a shortstop that would like to go play second base, but we're not going to close the door to anything in that regard. JP is our shortstop. He's an emotional leader for us. We feel like he does a very good job.
And that's exactly what I expected because offseason just started and JP Crawford is the shortstop. So the Mariners are going to have to see what's going to work for them in order to complement JP Crawford and anyone who is willing to play second base that is a shortstop, which I'm not sure if that will happen. So we will see. But I will say that the need to replace a second baseman is an understatement because Adam Frazier didn't really pan out as much as us fans hoped, although he had a good run in the playoffs with that one RBI hit against the Blue Jays that put the Mariners to a victory. But other than that, he was pretty underwhelming. And the worst part of it is the Mariners traded Kendall Graveman away for him. And out of all teams, the Mariners just had to trade to Houston for that. So, I mean, unless Toro was going to be a superstar out of that trade, the Mariners, I would say, completely lost that trade. And now Graveman is in Chicago, and I really do think that he would have been a great asset to the bullpen, especially in the playoffs. It really did show in the playoffs that the Mariners do need an established closer or just anyone good in the bullpen because the bullpen now, they have a lot of talent, but I just don't think that they have that competitive mentality to be able to hold on to those kind of leads, especially in the playoffs against the Astros. Scott Service also answered some questions about how he felt about the season and the playoffs, and here it is.
Yeah, we ended the drought. And I think that's the thing that stuck in my mind. You give it a couple days and, replay everything that happened throughout the playoffs and what could have gone our way, what didn't go our way, things like that. But at the end of the day, ending the drought was a huge accomplishment organizationally.
So I didn't really like the response much. I mean, although, yes, he does have every right to say that we ended the drought, but I just wish that he took a little bit of accountability for the decisions that he made, especially game 1 of the Houston series, which was pretty costly by pulling Logan Gilbert just too early from the game, especially when he did settle down just a little bit after giving up 3 runs. But then putting in Robbie Ray with that kind of matchup against Houston was not exactly a smart decision either. So I do think that Scott does have some work to do and improving on his pitching management. And I have been calling it out since day one, since his time in Seattle. Another key thing that they were bringing up was talking about Jesse Winker. And yes, there was a little bit of a controversy that was claiming that Jesse Winker wanted out of the team, and then the rumor started spreading. But then Jerry Dipoto, he did say this.
Jesse Winker was not with us on the line because he was having surgery in New York on his left knee. And we're also expecting to have a procedure on his neck. And the injuries he was dealing with at the end were very real, and obviously enough so that he was not traveling with us during the postseason and was rather spending 7 days of his time in New York getting that resolved.
With that being said by Jerry, that should quiet the rumors down for Jesse Winker, as those rumors were arguably provoked by Seattle Times' Ryan Divish, and here is what he said.
Where was Jesse Winker this last weekend? I mean, just not seeing him introduced with his teammates, etc. Where was he?
I think he was home. So I was curious because he didn't make the trip when we went to Toronto and then Houston. And I asked, and they said, well, he wanted to get a second opinion on his neck, and so And then I thought, and I asked one of the guys, like, well, you think you'll be back in Seattle? Like, maybe, yeah, I don't know. But I think they probably just told him to go home.
That should put a little bit an end to the rumor that Jesse Winker was not really going anywhere. He was just taking care of himself. Either that, or maybe Jerry was just covering up something and he just didn't want to deal with the media on that. Which, by the way, they really just wouldn't stop asking about Jesse Winker. Like, there were several times that they would just keep asking him, and here are some of those moments.
Jerry, when it comes to Jesse and his knee, how much did that play into his struggles potentially this year then, given his outfield struggles and at the plate as well, just his ability to move? How long was it a factor for him?
This is for Scott Service. I was just curious with what's been said lately with the Jesse Winker situation. Can you describe his work ethic and what he's done for the team throughout this season, and how you guys feel about him going forward?
Scott, I want to circle back to Jesse for just a second. With what you saw out there this year between Jared in left and Sam and wanting to progress, probably Jared especially, going forward, do you see a role for Jesse going forward into next year?
And stuff like that is the reason why I don't really trust the mainstream sports media, because they just focus on that one story because it's a hot click. And I mean, personally, I don't think Jesse Winker was much of an asset to the team other than an occasional long ball, getting into a fight with the Angels, and eating pizza. So I do think that he is a replaceable player. But man, just the media just wouldn't leave it alone. And like, there was a lot of other things that needed to be covered, but the media, they were just so consumed on Jesse Winker. Jerry Dipoto also pointed out some injuries to the team, and two of them that really stuck out was Andres Munoz. It turns out that he needs surgery. And then also Cal Raleigh, which everyone knew by now that he already had injury on his left hand and he was toughening it out. And once again, I really do give kudos to Cal Raleigh for toughing it out for that long period of time. So hopefully he will be recovered for the 2023 season.
Andres Munoz is going to require, and he's had an issue with his foot all year long that periodically would bother him. He's likely to undergo a procedure to resolve that issue, which may take a little longer than the other guys, but we don't expect it to affect his 2023 season. Cal is seeing a hand specialist. He had a torn UCL in his thumb, and I'll say, in addition to the growth that Cal showed on the field, the physical and emotional toughness that he showed in the final 6 weeks of this season, when he was playing a lot, and especially in September when he was playing through, pretty painful injury, especially when you catch baseballs that are flying at very high speeds with unpredictable movement. And can't say enough about the job that Cal did and gutted his way through it and had huge moments for us. There are other minor issues, nothing that we would consider major beyond those that I just mentioned.
Another thing that was brought up about was Jared Kelenic, where he had a complete up and down year. He was started up, then sent down, went back up, and then sent down, and then finally went back up. I did like what Scott Service said about Jared Kelenic, that he did try his best to give Jared the mindset of to not worry so much about the batting average since it was really low.
Yeah, I saw a different Jared. We called him back right at the end. I thought he did a much better job of, staying in the moment. But the one thing that could change is if he would allow himself to buy into team and win the game. Do whatever you can to help us win the game every night. It's exactly what I said to him. Whatever it might be, making a play in the outfield, stealing a base, taking a walk, might be getting a big hit. So get away from the batting average and all the offensive statistics that everybody is tied to, and just be a good player. And I thought we saw that.
And he got to get a playoff experience out of it. So hopefully Jared can take that momentum into next season and have hopefully that breakout year that everyone's been waiting for, especially since the Mariners gave up Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz. And hopefully Jared Kelenic can make that trade much more worth it. I still back up that trade to this day, and hopefully that he will pan out next year. There was a question for Jerry Dipoto regarding how much he felt about the farm system, since the Mariners did give up a good number of prospects for Luis Castillo.
We don't think we took that big a step back. We graduated a number of players to the big leagues. We still have a very young core in the big leagues, and over the last 2 seasons, graduating the Cal Raleighs and the George Kirbys and Logan and Kel. It starts to add up, and we may not rank in the top 5 like we have for the previous 3 years, but what we have right now is we have a flood of talent at the low end of our market, of our system, that are somewhere between the ages of 17 and 19, 20 years old that are all playing at the short or initial stages of their professional careers. And those guys generally don't get captured on the prospect lists. And, if Fangraphs is a great example, they usually don't recognize that player as being more than a future 45 until they've done something at the high A or double A levels to cross that bridge. We think that group of players in our system, the Cole Youngs and the Tyler Locklears, the Harry and Walter Ford, the young group that we had come out of the DSL this year was phenomenal. Very talented young group with Michael Arroyo and Laz Montes. And, that is the best part of our development system.
And I did like that what he said. It just really proves that he is very committed to still building on this farm system, which the Mariners should still be doing, because look at teams like the Houston Astros. Although they keep competing every year, they do find ways to keep developing young talent, which the Mariners should be doing going forward. And the other question that, yes, definitely should be asked about was Mitch Haniger, where he is going to be a free agent at the end of the season. And here's what was said.
I think everyone would like to see us find a way to find common ground with Mitch, but it's, players work a long time to get to free agency. It's really hard to get 6 years of service to get there. And I know Mitch, as much as he wants to be here, also wants to gauge what else is out there. So we'll keep talking. We have a number of times over the years. I have a great relationship with Adam as Mitch's agent, as does Jerry.
So it seems pretty unclear what they're going to do with him. I guess it's just going to depend what they're going to do with the free agent market. Notably, Aaron Judge is a free agent, but I don't know if the Mariners are willing to give him that big of a contract, since Aaron Judge has already not even signed an extension yet with the Yankees. So we'll see how that goes. So that was my more summarized take on the press conference. I hope I broke it down for you guys. I did this just for you. I went over this press conference like 2 to 3 times just so I can summarize it and make it easier for all of you. And here's another thing. So I am 6 subscribers away as of now to 50 subscribers. And if you guys can get me 50 by the end of the day, Friday, I will reveal what my next big project is going to be. And thank you very much for watching, and go Mariners. Thanks for watching. And just wanted to let you know that my first major project for my YouTube channel has just been released. Go ahead and take a look at that one. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.